Hi guys, welcome back to this week's Danny's Diary. It's another wet week here in Ireland and no sign of the rain stopping at the moment, but as we look back this week on the Dublin Racing Festival, first of all we're going to rank performances from 1 to 5. We have Tote, Fact to File, Kade Doy, Brighterdaysahead and Majborough. Number 1 performance, I'm going with Majborough. I've never seen him jump so well. He jumped out there, went a strong gallop all the way, and I was just blown away with the way he jumped, galloped, and put the race to bed. It was a decent test there. Marine National, probably not at his best on the ground. Solness maybe the same, but he loves Leopardstown, and the way he was able to burn off Solness early in the race was very good and maintained that jumping all the way down the back straight. Number 2 on the performances of the weekend, I'm going to go with Fact to File. He settled, jumped and galloped. This is what we haven't seen from him before. I would think the way he settled probably cost him the King George, that he wasn't able to hold a position in the early part of the race and therefore never got competitive. But I think this attribute to him could see him win a Gold Cup this year. He's obviously going to be needed to be supplemented for the race, but Connections supplemented last year's winner, and I would see no reason why they won't do the same with Fact to File. Number 3, a very good performance from Tote. Having fallen at the last in Leopardstown at Christmas, it was an obvious tactic that he was ridden to settle, and in a race where they went no gallop, I thought he'd done very well to come through and win from there. 2 decent types, second and third, Ballyfad and Willie's horse King Rasco Grey, but for Tote to be able to win off that steady gallop, to me he chalked himself down as a real supreme novice type. Obviously of the Irish ones, El Carrios, a winner of a Thurles Maiden, looked very impressive as well, but for me I think the form in the book goes for Tote. A finishing speed of 113% and him being out of position probably 4 furlongs from home, that was a serious performance. Number 4, Kade Doy. Take nothing away from the performance, he's further down the list, but I think the shock of the race was the no-show maybe from Final Demand. He just wasn't showing any spark early in the race, didn't jump, didn't gallop. Western Fold ran a creditable race in second, but I think he's a much better horse on nicer ground, and Western Fold could be still in the mix in Cheltenham were the ground to dry out, but Kade Doy just done what was required of him on the day. He's still a very good horse going forward. And number 5 on the list, to take nothing away from her, Brighterdaysahead. The reason she's probably bottom on the list is because I could see her having the potential to do this with the run at Christmas, having her first run of the season where Lossiemouth had the run under her belt before their match at Christmas, and she turned the tables around. Lossiemouth just didn't really jump and attack. Maybe Brighterdaysahead, they were thinking of going chasing, which gives you an idea of the size and scope of her, and she's definitely a champion hurdle contender. Whether Lossiemouth can win a champion hurdle, there's questions to be asked after the weekend. I would say Connections will more than likely lean towards the Mayor's hurdle, but Willie and Rich are very good at picking the best race possible, and I imagine that idea will be hatched out and the plan will be made very late to see what can be done. Looking at the rest of our list here, number 2 is Dublin Racing Festival on heavy ground. How is this form going to be going forward? I think the actual form should hold up. There's a few horses that probably didn't perform at their best. Final Demand, probably the main one from the weekend. He has 5 weeks to come back to Cheltenham. Looking at some of the 2-mile races, Brighterdaysahead winning and Majborough winning. Those, over hurdles and fences, they were run at very strong gallops. So they're probably the races with the lowest finishing speed percentage, in high 90s and low 90s, which is, really truly run races. So that's why it was so important that the DRF was run when it is, and that's why it's positioned 5 weeks before Cheltenham. Normally, these horses are run maybe every 3 weeks or so, but that extra 2 weeks before Cheltenham gives them all time to be battle hardened from the DRF, but time to recover and perform again at Cheltenham. Number 3 here, we have Poneross. I rode Poneross, so it was third behind Brighterdaysahead and Lossiemouth. A solid run. The bare result was quite good. Jumped a bit high and maybe didn't travel in the early part of the race and galloped home quite well. What he did from the furlong pole to the finish was quite impressive. He was able to pinch back the double green horse El Fabiolo, and Anzadam got tired late on the ground too. So yeah, I suppose why didn't he travel and jump? A 5-year-old, a smaller horse on that ground is probably more difficult, and he lacked the experience. So with that run under his belt in a really truly run race and on nice ground come Cheltenham, can he come out and cause a shock? Yes, he's probably in each way betting the race and deserves to be a slightly bigger price, but thinking of Catchet and Punjabi were the 2 5-year-olds in the past to have come out and won the champion hurdle. I'll probably be picked up on in the comments with other people knowing some of the other 5-year-olds. They're the 2 that spring to mind for me at the moment. Number 4, Copec the Board was around Punchestown after racing. We were hoping for a nice quiet schooling session, but there was plenty of people there seeing us heading out and got a few videos. I was on one of the horses following around, and yeah, needless to say, we couldn't keep up. Kopek was very good. Paul Townend wanted to get that experience into him, jumping at speed. It wasn't a schooling session, it was more of a race for him. Paul went at it, went to gallop, and Kopek ran away from us like you'd expect him to do it. It was a good performance now. Probably something similar to the likes of El Carrias going down to Thurles for a maiden hurdle rather than having a hard race at the DRF. So yeah, no ill effects in Kopek, and I'd say the plan is ready. The Arkle is looking within reach. He's banked what would be in effect another run around Punchestown.